Happy Sunday. I hope you guys are having a great day. It's another courageous conversation, and I'm your girl, MelissaQ. Thanks so much for coming in and chit-chatting with your girl. Today's video is going to be a little bit different because I felt like last Sunday was a little bit formal, but in today we're going to do a chit-chat. Get ready with me. Throwing on some drugstore makeup. Yes. I felt like that I wanted this to be more of a, sit back, drink your orange juice, your apple juice, drink some water. This is a Sunday afternoon. We're having a good time. And in today's video, we are talking about recognizing unequally yoked versus equally yoked relationships. We're going to talk about the whole definition of it all, what it means to us. And yeah, if you love videos like this, definitely hit the subscribe button before you leave. Also, the notification bell is there to let you guys know and be notified whenever I do an upload. And I upload during the week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, and Sundays at 2 p.m. Pacific for courageous conversation. So if you're interested, then keep watching. In today's video, we want to talk about recognizing unequally yoked and yoked relationships, and we're talking specifically about friendships. We can definitely talk about a romantic relationship and maybe another video if you guys want to talk about that, because I feel like it's important. I did put a poll out as to what you guys want episode 3 to be, and so far in the running it is about turning a setback into a comeback. There is another one. I'll actually put the poll in this video just so you guys can vote too. But in today's video, like I said, we're going to talk about recognizing unequally yoked and yoked relationships. And what unequally yoked, the Bible talks about being unequally yoked. And it talks about if you're a believer, a Christian, not being unequally yoked with unbelievers, because how can one that walks in the light, rather the darkness, how can they walk together and agree? Which is totally true. So let's get into the convo and let's put on some makeup. Okay, so the first thing I do want to say is that you're going to see this in an upcoming video in terms of my skincare routine. This is from a brand, Fleur & B. I also talked about them in a favorites video. Okay, so everything drugstore pretty much is in here. I do have a video coming about my favorite drugstore products. I haven't done one of those in a while, so we're going to talk about that. But let's put on a little bit of hydration. This is Pixi by Petra. This is the Hydrating Milky Mist. I really like this. When I say drugstore, Ulta too, okay? Affordable. We'll say affordable. Affordable, okay? Come on, Glow. So let your star glow. Ooh, I heard they're coming out with another Coming to America. Have y'all heard that? Okay, so anyway. Speaking of friendships. So there's a saying that says that if you within your lifetime have like 2 or 3 friends, you're doing really good. I don't know if you heard that. I've heard that being from the South, down South. I know I live in LA, but I'm originally from Mississippi for you guys that don't know. But they said if you have a best friend, then you are doing really, really well, like within your lifetime. And I was watching Black Girls Rock, and I was seeing that Sierra said some things, and this really inspired me. I feel like I want to do a letter to my younger self, because if I knew then what I know now, I know in hindsight is 2020. I feel like, I would have had a lot more confidence in myself and trusted a lot of decisions that I thought that I made on my own versus really like listening to like ridiculous people in my life. People that's the same age as you. So, yeah, this is for anybody who wants to watch. First of all, like, I hope you can gain some wisdom from this. Did the pencil just fall out? we're going to go in with the e.l.f. Matte for Matte and their brow brush, like the angle brush. Let's go in with it, and we're just gonna make, okay, let's talk about what about your friends. See, you can always make a song, but that's a song for everything, you know what I mean? But in terms of unequally yoked and yoked friends, I feel like that it's important to really know what you want. I think it's easy to select unequally yoked friends when you don't actually know who you are and what you want. But also, it's important to listen to yourself when you come in contact with a person. So when I talk about what type of person, I'm talking about the personality characteristics. You know who you are. I am very thoughtful of other people, but I do have a strong personality, and I look for people that are also like that, but have their differences in different things. Of course, you are two people. I feel like it's great to find people that surround you, especially if they're going to be friends with you, that are not going to agree with everything that you have, because so a lot of the similarities should be there, but you do want someone with some diversity, because this is the reason why. When you're wrong, you want that friend to tell you that you're wrong. You want them to tell you in love, but you want them to say, "No, sis, this is the way." Especially if you are living a Christian lifestyle, a Christ-like lifestyle. If what you're doing is wrong, they should be able to tell you because they love you. But also, not only should it be about conversation, do you guys like to shop? It should also be moral values, spiritual values. You know, those type of things are very, very important. I feel like that when it comes to the friends that I have very close to me, my husband is my best friend. Let me just say that, because I feel like that it's very, very, very important to marry a person that you were friends with first. And the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of times that when we have conversations, we're talking as friends. We are not talking. We're not talking in a tone. Although we're friends, although we're partners, although we are companions, although we are lovers, we are friends above all else. And the reason why I say that is because when something goes wrong, you want that person to be your friend. You want them to give you friendly advice, you know, and we can definitely talk about that type of friendship a little bit later. But in terms of like my friend girls or girlfriends, you know, some people, I call them friend girls because I just call them friend girls. I just grew up saying these are my friend girls or girlfriends, or not really my girlfriends. So one of the things that an unequally yoked, let's just say this. The reason why we want to talk about recognizing equally versus unequally yoked relationships is because sometimes you don't know what you want until you see what you don't want. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to be hurt. Sometimes you have to be in a certain situation to realize, no, I don't want that in that quality in a close friend. Now, I do believe in compartmentalizing your relationships. And what I mean by that is that there are people that are going to be coworkers. They're not going to be your friend at work. You're going to have companions. That means a person that I can shop with, but I'm not going to tell all my business to. You know? I can have an associate. We can be acquainted with each other. Like, my best friend is not the neighbor across the street. I'm acquainted with that person. But my neighbor is my neighbor. And it's okay to say that. I think it's important when introducing people. Sometimes we want to use the word friend and we use it very loosely. Friend is an important title in my life. Okay? My husband is my friend. You know, you have foes. We need to make sure that we're not calling our foes our friends. Okay? People who are our enemies. Who are our enemies? Pray tell, Melissa. Our enemies are anybody that is against us. There are people in my life that are on neutral ground, where they're not my enemy and they're not my friend. Okay, those are the people that are my acquaintances, my coworkers, my the people that are around me. My friends are in my closer circle. Okay, those are the people that you can talk to, and you know that your information is not going to be spreaded. Those are the type of people. Your friends are the ones that are not going to spread your information for their own gain. You're not going to feel a sense of competitiveness. We're going to talk about that in a few minutes, because y'all, I have been burned so many times with people, particularly like females, that I'm like, this is just, we're just getting to know each other. It does not have to be a verbal war of who has more. And I find it very, very difficult to have relationships when the person feels threatened by my intelligence or what I bring to the table. A friend should never feel threatened. They should always feel valued in that relationship. Another thing that I feel like sometimes happen, and y'all, yes, I take a long time on my brows. A thing that I feel like that should happen in every relationship is that someone who is equally yoked with you is going to build you up, and you're going to build them up. I'm not going to let the conversation be about me every single time we talk. It needs to be how your day is. Oh, and build that person up. And genuinely, this is not about fakeness. This is about really knowing the person's strengths, building them up. Hey, you can do that. And it's okay to share information. It's okay to share, and when you have a problem with a person, you go to them. When I have an issue, if I have an issue with my husband, when we talk, we use something when we have a conversation in our relationship is, babe, I'm talking to you as your friend. Now I have taken off the wife role. I've taken off any type of role that I play in this relationship, and I am talking to him as a friend. So now this is a friendship conversation, and he knows where I'm coming from. I think it's important to say that basis from the very beginning, because it kind of sets up the conversation, and I think that it's important to state that as such. So even in my friendships, I have two close friends. I feel like I have friends. I do. I have friends of people that are at my church. It's okay for everyone not to be your friend. As a matter of fact, you want to start on the same level, and then trust yourself, trust your gut. Let's give an example of one of the times that I really didn't trust my gut with this particular girl. And I let her get too close to me, and not only did she talk about me, she talked about my family, and it just did not work out well. But let me tell you what my head told me when I met her, because I feel like I tried to do something, and this was years ago. This was about almost 20 years ago. So I was in a different mindset, but I feel like I was still mature, but I was still in that sense. I had just moved to LA, and so I wanted to make friends. So I was attempting to make friends and be very careful about people who have not met you yet and prejudge you on who you are. I could tell from the way that she kind of gave me this snarl. Yes, I'm saying a snarl. I could tell that she didn't care for me. And I saw it as a challenge. I'm going to prove her wrong, because she doesn't even know me. Okay? And I was looking at it like I'm going to prove her wrong. So one of the things that I do is I sincerely give people, because I feel like there is good in everybody. You can actually find some good even in someone that you may not like. But I didn't know her, and one of the things that I do really like about how I approach people and what I think about people when I meet them is I want them to actually, I feel like I give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Okay, you're gonna prove yourself wrong. You know, you show yourself. That's basically what I think. No one else has to tell me, hey, that person is gossipy, they talk trash. I feel like you kind of telling yourself when you meet somebody. It doesn't, you know, I don't have to get somebody else's vote. They are going to tell me about themselves. And sometimes things with other people don't work out. It doesn't have to necessarily, just because you're not friends with the person doesn't mean that I'm not going to be friends with them. And I'm very selective that way. When someone comes to me and says, hey, this person is like trash, or says something like that, I actually look at the person that's talking, because like, why would you even come to me about someone else? To me, that's very shady. You know what I mean? So I don't have a eye primer, you guys, so we're gonna do an eye primer. Sorry, I'm gonna use everything we can drugstore. Oh god. So I was trying to prove myself wrong about how I felt about her. Boy, I just wasted time with that whole spiel of trying to prove her wrong, because throughout the years she proved herself even more of not being a friend by talking about my family, and you know, talking behind my back. And what's crazy is that somebody else had to come and tell me all of this. This is one of the lessons that I learned. Don't say to someone else, that the person that you're not talking to, never say something to someone else that you couldn't tell in the person's face. That is a rule that I have. If I can't tell my friend, then why am I telling somebody else about it, you know? I'm sorry. I had to actually look at something. But when it comes to all I can say was, when it comes to unequally and equally yoked, like, conversations, it's important to like pay attention to not only yourself, how do you react in front of the person. Do you feel like you're more yourself, or do you feel competitive? Because sometimes it's not you. Sometimes it could be the vibe that the other person is giving off. You definitely don't want to feel like you have to come up to a standard with the person. And what I mean by that, not to say that the person doesn't have morals, but the question is, do you feel comfortable around that person? You should feel challenged. You should feel good about the person bringing benefits to your life, and you're bringing benefit to them, and make sure that's reciprocated. Because I remember growing up and not feeling like relationships were being reciprocated in terms of my friendships. What I mean by that is the relationship being reciprocated. Make sure that the person values you as much as you value them. I feel like that this is going to be a part 2, just because I think that there are some points that I definitely want to bring across. One of the things that we have to value is, especially when that other friend is in the relationship, respect the relationship. Okay, respect the time. I shouldn't feel like I'm in competition with my friend's boyfriend. You know what I mean? I should feel like I have value, and that's a different type of relationship. That's a different type of dynamic. And every relationship needs its space. And just like you respect their relationship, they should respect yours. I don't know. A lot of times people think about unequally yoked being just about a romantic relationship in the Bible, but that's about friendships in general. Like the people that you hang around, the people that you are around, it should feel like you're on the even plane. Unequally means unbalanced. And so when I'm unbalanced, I'm going to be able to feel that. I think that God gave us, we call it women's intuition, but God really gave us those senses. He gave us the Holy Spirit in order for us to really determine what is for us and what's against us. And that doesn't mean that the person is not your enemy. It's okay not to be friends with everybody. It is okay that everybody is not on the same level. And let me just say something. One of my major like aha moments was in prayer. And I remember I did not understand why this particular girl didn't like me. And I was praying, and in my prayer time, there is a time that I speak to God and I tell him, you know, I talk to him. I'm repentful for things that I've done or things that I wasn't aware, and God brings it to my attention. It is then my responsibility after prayer to like get those things right. But in my prayer time, there's a time that I have that I am quiet, and that those are the times that I know that God speaks to me. And so in that quiet time, when I'm quiet in the prayer moment, in the meditation, in the prayer time, God let me know, don't love people or don't like people. You can love/like people because of where you want them to be. Love them where they are right there. So, you know, that was a lesson for me to take on. That was a huge aha moment. Love people where they are and not where you expect them to be. And so it lets me know that everybody hasn't made it to that mature level of realizing that one of my pet peeves is when people say, I just don't like her. Why? I don't think that it's the correct term when it comes to me and I'm like, I don't like that person. I think that that is a very ambiguous statement to make. It's vague. Sometimes people, they can carry a certain spirit about them, a different type of presence that they have that may not connect with yours, which is okay. But for me not to like a person just after seeing them, and not even like gotten to know them or any of that, I feel like it's bias. Tell me what you guys think in the comments about that. But that's just in my opinion. I think that everyone is entitled to present themselves and and it's important for us to give people a chance to get to know us. And you don't have to like let your business be known. I think that's one of the things that I had to learn, is to be guarded. I know. Sometimes being guarded, sometimes we want to make friends. Sometimes we want to be friends where we're not guarded enough. So that's how I feel about it. What are some of the other things that you have heard that are maybe pet peeves? I can tell you a pet peeve of mine that is also a pet peeve of like the people that are close to me. We hate clicks. Clicks to me are one of the biggest and worst like social issues, social like innuendos that we've created in our lives. I think clicks create chaos. They create mean people. I feel like some of us have been our worst. You know, I think that cliques, a lot of the people that when I was growing up that were in cliques, they were so nice when they were by themselves, but they were a different person around the group. Which I'm like, if you're the same person, why are you changing around people? So that's one of the things that I didn't like about cliques. And I was never really a part of a clique, just because growing up I went to most of the schools that I went to growing up, from elementary to high school, were predominantly African American. But when I got to college, I made a decision. I could have gone to an HBC, but this is the reason why I didn't. It was because I knew that the world was not full of African Americans. I had already had that experience. And, you know, being down south, sometimes I feel like we can be guarded about only being in a safe place. And I wanted to get to know different ethnicities, how to get along, you know, make friends with other ethnicities, get acquainted with their cultures. It just wasn't about mine. I really did not want to have that selfish, and not to say that anybody that goes to a historical black college, I think it's amazing. My brothers and sisters went to historical black colleges, so I wasn't taking that approach at all. I thought that because I always knew that I would not stay in the state that I lived in, and I thought that it was an important experience for me to get to know other cultures, other ethnicities. And so that's the reason why I decided to go to a predominantly like multicultural school. And there were African Americans. I think we were 6% of the population there, and some of them got upset at me because I did not stay at the black table. And I was like, y'all, that's a different discussion if y'all want to hear about that. But I thought that was ridiculous. Like, me changing my seat is not going to change my skin tone. You know what I mean? So I thought that was very, you know, sometimes we can put ourselves in a box. And I thought that was like kind of off, but I didn't hold it against them. I thought that was just a very minute thought process, and I didn't like it. But anyway, and I didn't listen to them. I thought that was very cliquish to stay at the black table every time we eat. Everything does not have to be a cultural event. You know what I mean? Do I love the culture? Do I do things for the culture? Of course I do. But does everything have to be like categorized as such? And I say no. I think it's important for us to know how to get along. And this made me laugh, but our pastor, the pastor that I have now, he said something that was so, like, to me, funny, intelligent, but also like really made me think, was, is heaven gonna be full of black people? No. For people that believe in heaven, you know, but of course I do. But that made me laugh because sometimes we can be so stuck into just making friends with a particular culture that we really lose out, and we really don't see the value of other ethnicities, just because, yeah, a common ground can be that the ethnicity is the same, but I also believe that we don't give other people a chance because of their ethnicity. So unequally yoked does not mean just skin color, is what I'm just saying. You know, do I have some like brothers and sisters that I love to be around? Of course I do. My husband is, and you know, he's African American, but he also has other cultures in his family as well as I do. But all in all, I married him because I loved him, because both of us were Christians. Both of us were equally yoked. We had a great friendship that turned into a romantic relationship, and that's why I married him. If it was another culture, I would have married that different culture, okay? That's just a different ethnicity. Different culture. What am I talking about? Different ethnicity. But I think we lose out when we don't take out the time to get to know people, no matter what ethnicity they are. So let's not shortchange ourselves because people of our same ethnicity, because sometimes they can be the ones that burn us because they're the ones that's closest to us. And really, those are the people that can really hurt you. The people that are not in your inner circle, and not to say that sticks and stones, you know, break bones, and, you know, words do hurt, okay? Let's just be real. Words do hurt, and just know that you can't take words back. Have I said hurtful things? Of course, I think everyone has, but what makes sense is that we do our best to not hurt people in the interim, because guess what? Let me tell you something. This is what I learned real quick, y'all. What goes around comes around. Now that's a true motto. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The truth of the matter is, it comes back to bite you. And the reaping is greater than the sowing. I'm just saying. But, y'all, I just think being thoughtful of people is important. You know, make sure your values are the same. You know, you shouldn't feel like you're threatened in a relationship, whether it's a male or female. Being equally yoked, I think that it's great to put a pro and cons list when you are around this person. And, you know, sometimes chemistry just hits off. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Me and CJ, y'all gonna hear me talk about, I talk about her all the time because it really was a sisterhood, divine connection. And I'll tell you guys about a little story about us. I like to, you know, for you guys to take home something in this. And why is this not opening? Oh, okay. CJ and I did a collab together. I don't know if I sent her an email. I probably did. Or she sent one to me. Either way, we ended up doing a top 5 collab a couple of years ago together, and our friendship hit off from there. A year or two after that, my grandmother passed away. I had just had a baby. I was in the airport and in the city in which she lives, and my husband, I couldn't get a hold of my husband until late. It was late at night. I think he was not even 1 year old, but I had my son, and I just felt overwhelmed. And she was like, girl, I got you. Came and picked me up from the airport, took me back the next day, got on the plane, went back. And that was like, that's my sister. That's my sister. Those are the things that my sister would do, you know. And I mean, we had a relationship before that, and a friendship, but I was like, I knew that if that happened here, the same thing would happen. But oh my goodness, like, sometimes I have people that lived in my same city that would not do that. You know what I mean? And that just let me know that, hey, that love is going to be, that friendship is going to be reciprocated. And she's my sister. Like, we don't even look at each other as, like, friends like that. It has, like, she is my sister. She's my sister. My roommate is my sister in college. Quickly became my sister. And when I say quickly, like, we were roommates for like 2 years. My junior and senior year, we were like, we're not even trying to like figure out who else to like room with. Girl, like, there was like no question. So those are the type of things you just have to look at. You look at, what do you have in common? You know, is the faith the same? I thought that was even important with, you know, someone that's close to me. Do we believe in the same God? I think that that's important. I've tried to have relationships with people, and they've only been acquaintances or, co-workers or that. But being that close to me, I noticed that my faith is a top priority in my relationships. So you got to have that list, like that mental list, you know. Is that important? We don't cross the line with our husbands. Both of us are married. We don't cross the line. There are just certain things you don't do. And let me give you guys this example, and I'll try to wrap this up as soon as possible because I'm getting close to being finished with my makeup. But one of the things, I remember one of my friends, she had children before I did, and I would babysit. And she still is married, but during the time that I was in college, she was married. And so she was like, you know, hey, Melissa, I'm getting off work and could you help me watch the kids, because me and her husband she was like, me and, you know, my husband, which I was friends with him too, we want to go out. You know, he can come and pick you up and take you to the house. And I was like, cool. And she was like, well, you can get there and you guys can just hang out until I get there. And I was like, no. And she was just like, why? And I was like, listen, this is the type of friend that I am. Okay? I don't want you or anyone else outside of this relationship. I want you to know that I am legit with this. You know what I mean? I didn't want anybody to think that I was trying to have a relationship with her husband. I feel like that is important, because you have to, I feel like it's important in relationships to fortify and forge that relationship, so that person doesn't ever have to have that question. And y'all, I'm telling you, she was like, well, listen, I'm going to be home. He's still going to need to pick you up because I got to take care of the kids. But she was like, I'm going to tell, we're going to say Robert, because, you know, we're just going to say that name. Of course, his name is not Robert. But she was like, okay, I'm going to call Robert, tell Robert to pick you up from the campus, and we will, you know, I'll see you when you get here. I was like, cool, okay. Do you know, before I even made it to her house, someone had called her and told me that I was seen with her husband? See, that's what I'm talking about. Don't let your good be evil spoken of, okay? So I gave myself permission to get permission, okay? I wanted to fortify. It wasn't like, oh, it doesn't matter what people think. People can put things in other people's heads, and I did not want that to happen with my friend, okay? I think that it's very, very important to forge those relationships. And she saw when the person called her and told her that, she was like, sis, I already know. And the person was like, oh. And see, those are the type of people you have to be careful with. Like, why are you calling somebody to telling somebody else about their business? Okay, mind your business. I have a degree in mind your business, okay? And so that just goes to show that it's important for me to fortify and forge and ensure that that relationship stays the way that it is. Affairs don't happen overnight, and sometimes they are not meant to be developed, but I didn't even want that in her head. You know what I mean? I didn't want him thinking anything, which he didn't, because, you know, they have a good relationship. They have a friendship too, but I did not want my friend to think less of me. And that just goes to show. I was telling her, I was like, nope. She's like, but girl, I trust you. I was like, I understand that. I understand that. But I don't want anybody else saying anything about you or our relationship. I don't want you or anybody to put anything in your head that anything is going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stay on this line. Okay? I'm not going to cross the line. I know how far things should go. And I think in any relationship, we have to be careful in how we interact with people who are in other relationships, and be okay with not doing everything, even though the person may trust you. You have your own standards that you need to go by. You know what I mean? And she respected me for that, and I wanted her to respect me. I wanted that respect to stay there. So, oh, I like my makeup. I have been really liking drugstore lately. Oh, I think that is it. I know we're going to talk more about this topic. I just wanted to do kind of like a chit chat, like girlfriend type of talk. I think the last one was kind of formal. But again, I'm going to leave everything down in the description box. Let me pop on some mascara and we will be back. And that's it, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this talk. I know that it seemed like it wasn't as formal and put together as the other one, but this was more of like a chit chat, get ready with me, just talking to girlfriends, just talking to you guys out there. I'll see you guys in the comments. I would love to hear from you guys what you think about being unequally yoked versus being yoked. What are some of the things that you have seen in your own relationships that you like and you don't like, or you care for, you don't care for? Some of the things that you feel like are unequally yoked, unbalanced with your relationships that you've learned throughout the time. I'm sure someone is going to be helped with this, so definitely put down, and you know we're gonna keep it 100. You know that is the deal here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you leave if you want more notifications about when I am uploading. Also hit the bell. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.